That golden crunch you crave might be hiding something darker than burnt oil. Before you order another basket of fries or crispy chicken sandwich, you need to know what former employees and health inspectors have discovered about the fryers at these 9 popular chains. What they're not telling you could turn your stomach. KFC's 11 herbs and spices might be a closely guarded secret, but their oil management practices are becoming an open scandal. The Colonel's legacy, built on fresh, pressure-fried chicken, is crumbling under the weight of cost-cutting measures that would make him roll over in his grave. Here's what former employees are finally willing to admit. That crispy coating you love is often cooked in oil that hasn't been changed in 3 to 5 days, despite corporate policies requiring daily oil replacement. A manager from Louisville revealed that during busy weeks, some locations stretch oil usage to an entire week to meet profit margins. That's not just gross, it's dangerous. The pressure fryers that made KFC famous require precise temperature control, but 2023 health inspection data shows that 40% of surveyed locations violated oil temperature standards. When oil gets too hot or stays dirty too long, it breaks down into compounds that can cause stomach irritation and worse. Your bucket of chicken might come with a side of chemical breakdown you never ordered. Even more disturbing is the practice former workers call double dipping. During rush periods, partially cooked chicken pieces get pulled from fryers early, held at unsafe temperatures for hours, then thrown back into the oil when orders pile up. One employee from Tennessee documented chicken sitting in warming trays for over 4 hours before being refried and served to unsuspecting customers. The result? That finger-licking good taste might actually be the flavor of contaminated oil and improperly handled poultry. While KFC cuts corners with their signature fried chicken, another chain is doing something even worse with their fish. Long John Silver's promises fresh seafood with that satisfying crunch. But what's swimming in their fryers would make any ocean lover seasick. The chain that built its reputation on coastal flavors has developed some seriously fishy practices that go far beyond just bad puns. Former employees have exposed a disturbing pattern of relabeling expired fish fillets with fresh dates, sometimes extending shelf life by up to a week past safe consumption windows. A whistleblower from Florida documented managers instructing staff to peel off old expiration stickers and replace them with current dates on fish that had already started to smell. That's not just fraud, it's a recipe for food poisoning. The cross-contamination problem runs even deeper. Long John Silver's uses the same fryer oil for chicken, fish, and hush puppies without proper filtering between different proteins. When chicken juices mix with seafood and oil that's already questionable, you're creating a bacterial breeding ground that would horrify any food safety expert. One former cook revealed finding what staff called mystery fish, fillets with no documentation showing where they came from or how long they'd been frozen. The consequences are real and documented. Multiple salmonella outbreaks between 2022 and 2023 were traced back to Long John Silver's locations, with fried items identified as the common factor in each case. Health officials in Ohio linked 37 cases of food poisoning to a single location where investigators found fish stored at dangerous temperatures and oil that hadn't been changed in over a week. If seafood fryers are this problematic, wait until you hear what's happening with America's favorite fried chicken sandwich. The Popeyes chicken sandwich became a cultural phenomenon, but the viral craze created a nightmare behind the fryers that customers never saw. When demand exploded beyond all expectations, the chain's quality controls collapsed faster than their supply chain, leaving dangerous shortcuts as the only way to keep up with orders. Former employees reveal that oil temperature logs were routinely falsified during peak sandwich hysteria to meet impossible quotas. Workers were instructed to record proper temperatures even when fryers were running too hot or too cold, creating a paper trail of lies that covered up systematic safety violations. One manager from Atlanta admitted that during the sandwich shortage weeks, accurate temperature monitoring became optional to keep lines moving. The preparation process became equally compromised. Chicken sandwich fillets were pre-cooked hours in advance, stored in warming trays at unsafe temperatures, then quickly refried when orders came in. This double cooking method not only destroyed the texture and flavor, but created perfect conditions for bacterial growth between the two cooking phases. Workers reported being pressured to serve visibly undercooked chicken rather than face the wrath of customers waiting over an hour for sandwiches. The evidence keeps mounting. A viral employee video from early 2024 showed moldy breading mix still being used at a Texas location, with green spots clearly visible throughout the coating that would soon cover someone's lunch. Health inspectors in Louisiana documented multiple locations where chicken was held at room temperature for over 3 hours during rush periods. While Popeyes rushes their famous sandwich, this next chain has turned speed into an art form with dangerous consequences. Sonic Drive-In built its brand on speed and convenience, but their automated systems have created a perfect storm where technology meant to ensure consistency actually enables dangerous shortcuts. When machines do most of the thinking, human oversight disappears, and so do safety standards. The automated fryer timers that should guarantee perfectly cooked food are routinely overridden by staff trying to keep up with drive-in demand during peak hours. Former employees reveal that managers taught them to bypass safety timers to push food out faster, meaning your onion rings might be pulled from oil before they've reached safe internal temperatures. One worker from Oklahoma documented how timer overrides became so common that staff stopped checking actual cooking times altogether. The cross-contamination problem is staggering. Onion rings, mozzarella sticks, and chicken all share the same oil without proper maintenance or filtering between different food types. When you order those famous tots, you're getting traces of whatever protein was cooked in that oil earlier, along with any bacteria that might have accumulated. A former manager admitted that oil filtration was skipped entirely during busy summer days to avoid slowing down service. Equipment maintenance tells an even darker story. Former employees reveal that ice cream machines and fryer equipment are rarely deep cleaned, with some locations going months between thorough sanitizations. Health Department records from Texas show that 60% of inspected Sonic locations received citations for oil maintained at unsafe temperatures, creating ideal conditions for bacterial growth. Sonic's speed over safety approach pales in comparison to what happens when breakfast meets the fryer. Hardee's breakfast menu promises a hearty start to your day, but morning shift workers have discovered that their fryer oil often contains more than just food residue. The overnight cleaning process that should sanitize equipment frequently leaves behind chemical contamination that gets mixed right into your hash browns and chicken tenders. Multiple morning shift employees report finding soap residue floating in fryer oil when they arrive for their shifts, evidence that cleaning crews either used too much degreaser or failed to properly rinse equipment before refilling with fresh oil. One worker from North Carolina documented thick, sudsy bubbles on the oil surface that were simply skimmed off before cooking began. That's not thorough cleaning, that's contamination with a side of breakfast. The temperature management creates another layer of problems. Hash browns require different cooking temperatures than chicken tenders, but Hardee's uses the same oil for both without making proper adjustments. This means your breakfast potatoes are either undercooked in chicken temperature oil or your tenders are overcooked in hash brown settings. Neither scenario ends well for food safety or your stomach. A viral TikTok video from a former employee showed the reality behind the breakfast rush. Black chunky oil with visible food particles still being used to cook hash browns. The oil was so dark and thick, it looked more like motor oil than cooking fat. The consequences became legal reality in 2023 when a customer filed a lawsuit after being hospitalized following contaminated fried chicken tenders that allegedly contained cleaning chemical residue. If breakfast fryers are this neglected, the problems at this next 24-hour chain will shock you. Jack in the Box's 24-hour operations create a unique nightmare scenario where minimal overnight staffing meets maximum opportunity for dangerous shortcuts. When the sun goes down and management goes home, food safety standards seem to disappear along with proper supervision. Night shift workers routinely skip oil changes and temperature checks because these procedures take too long for skeleton crews trying to handle the entire restaurant alone. A former overnight employee from Arizona revealed that oil changes scheduled for midnight were simply postponed until the morning shift arrived, meaning late-night customers got food cooked in oil that was already hours past its safe usage window. The famous curly fries that draw you in during those late-night cravings might be swimming in oil that's been contaminated all day. The food holding practices are equally disturbing. Curly fries and chicken nuggets sit in warming trays for entire overnight shifts, sometimes 8 to 10 hours, creating perfect breeding grounds for bacteria while losing any resemblance to fresh food. One former manager admitted that during busy periods, locations were pressured to reuse oil for up to a week to avoid the cost and time of frequent changes. The health consequences are documented and serious. Multiple E. coli cases in late 2023 were traced back to fried items at California Jack in the Box locations, with investigators finding systematic violations in overnight food handling procedures. When you're grabbing those 2 a.m. tacos, you're rolling the dice with your digestive system. While Jack in the Box cuts corners at night, this beloved comfort food chain has problems that span all hours. Cracker Barrel markets itself as the embodiment of old-fashioned country cooking, complete with rocking chairs and nostalgic decor that promises food made just like Grandma used to make. But behind that home-style image lies industrial food preparation that would make any self-respecting country cook ashamed to claim the recipe. That hand-breaded fried chicken you're paying premium prices for arrives pre-breaded and frozen from industrial suppliers, then gets finished in oil that's rarely filtered properly. Former kitchen workers reveal that the chicken spends more time in freezer trucks than in actual preparation, destroying the fresh, made-from-scratch illusion that justifies those sit-down restaurant prices. One employee from Tennessee documented frozen chicken boxes stacked floor to ceiling, each stamped with production dates weeks old. The cross-contamination problems run deep through their menu. Country fried steak, fried chicken, and catfish all share the same fryers without proper cleaning between different proteins, creating a mixture of flavors and potential allergens that no country kitchen would ever allow. Employees report being specifically trained to scrape visible oil residue from fryer surfaces and continue using the same contaminated oil rather than change it. Health inspection records reveal a consistent pattern of violations across multiple states for improper oil storage and temperature control. In Georgia alone, 73% of inspected Cracker Barrel locations received citations for oil-related safety violations in 2023. That country charm comes with industrial-level corner cutting that puts your health at risk. Even sit-down restaurants aren't immune to these problems, but our final chain might be the most surprising of all. Wingstop built its reputation as the wing specialist, promising flavor variety and quality that sets them apart from generic chicken chains. But their focus on sauces and seasonings has created a contamination nightmare that puts customers with allergies and dietary restrictions in serious danger every time they order. Buffalo sauce contamination in fryer oil creates undisclosed allergen exposure that the company fails to warn customers about. When wings get tossed in sauce before serving, excess sauce drips back into the fryer oil, creating a mixture that can trigger allergic reactions in people who ordered plain wings or different flavors. A former employee from Texas revealed that oil would turn orange from buffalo sauce contamination, yet managers insisted it was still safe to use for all wing varieties. Despite marketing claims about fresh, never frozen quality, wings are cooked in the same oil used for breaded items like tenders and sides, completely contradicting their premium positioning. The cross-contamination doesn't just affect taste, it creates serious health risks for customers with specific dietary needs or religious restrictions who believe they're getting pure, uncontaminated chicken. Equipment failures make everything worse. Former employees reveal that oil filtration systems have been broken at multiple locations for months at a time, with management choosing to continue operations rather than invest in repairs. A 2024 investigation found that 70% of surveyed Wingstop locations had oil that exceeded safe usage limits, with some samples showing contamination levels that would trigger immediate closure at properly regulated facilities. When a chain specializes in one thing and still can't get the basics right, it raises questions about every golden brown bite you've ever trusted. Church's Chicken represents the most dangerous combination in fast food. Budget pricing meets franchise independence, creating a perfect storm where corporate oversight disappears and profit margins trump safety at every turn. When franchise owners control their own operations with minimal supervision, the results can be catastrophic for unsuspecting customers seeking affordable fried chicken. The oil management practices at franchise locations are particularly horrifying. Former employees reveal that some franchise owners skip required oil changes to cut costs, with locations using the same oil for 10 days or more during busy periods. One whistleblower from Louisiana documented oil so thick and black it resembled tar, yet managers insisted it was still acceptable for cooking chicken that would be served to families. The food holding violations are equally disturbing. Chicken held in warmers overnight gets refried the next day during lunch rush to avoid waste, creating twice-cooked meat that's dry on the outside and potentially dangerous on the inside. A viral employee video from early 2024 showed green, moldy oil still being used for chicken preparation at a Texas location, with visible contamination that would shut down any properly regulated kitchen. The health consequences are mounting in courtrooms across the country. A class action lawsuit filed in 2024 alleges widespread food poisoning incidents linked to improperly maintained fryers at churches' locations, with plaintiffs claiming systematic negligence in oil management and equipment maintenance. When budget chicken comes with budget safety standards, every meal becomes a gamble with your health that no discount is worth taking.